Julie Scoggins, ladies and gentlemen. Julie Scoggins. A standing ovation. Welcome to our webcast on YouTube, Google, and I believe Justin TV. We are now live on the World Wide Web, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are international. Yeah, there's people watching us that can't speak our language. It's all right.
I got a shirt.
And you can bring the house lights up a little bit if you like. It's good to see everybody. Oh, by the way, if you happen to be sitting with somebody you shouldn't be sitting with, sorry. You've been outed as far as that goes. You know, we do this now. We've been doing this since the 1st of January, and I've loved it. And Julie is the first interview. And by the way, we'll say Julie's the first interview that I have not prepped. Everyone else was prepped.
I was gonna say.
Julie is like, what the fuck?
He's paying me. I gotta.
That's right. She goes, I'll do it.
I gotta say.
Whatever. And so, which is interesting. So I'll prep a little bit up front. And to my knowledge, there are a billion webcasts, podcasts out there. To my knowledge, this is the only one, and this comes from a lot of the top agents out in LA that I've talked to, that no one's heard of a webcast where it's an interview with a comedian in the club where they just did a show with the audience that just watched that show. This is the only place that happens. The other thing is that I know about when you watch comics in interviews, Byron Allen has an interview show. They had the Green Room there for a little while with Paul Provenza. But I know Julie and I as comedians can watch it, and sometimes when it seems like it is not what we call bit-driven, and that is leading a comic with a question into an already prepared bit. It'll look like it's not, but most of the time it is. This isn't. What we want to do with the comics is get to know who Julie is when she's not up here on this stage, and that's what I find very interesting about
I've
comedians.
told you a lot already, haven't
Well,
I've shared a lot.
somewhat. You grew up where?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina, and oh, well there you go. You brought your people, Tar Heels. And you tell us about your family growing up.
My dad was an architect. My mother was a church secretary. I had a pony when I was little. I have no dysfunction whatsoever in my... I shouldn't even be a comedian, really. You're supposed to have traumatized upbringing.
See, and I think
I have none of that. Jay Leno didn't either, though.
Right. You hear that so often, is that all comics are somehow damaged goods, and that's the reason we do this.
Not at all. I know.
No, we just don't want jobs or bosses. Is that true? We don't want bosses or jobs.
We don't want to have to work normally.
No, not really. So no brothers and sisters. You're the only child.
I have my brother. I have my gay brother.
Your gay brother.
Which is like the sister I never had.
Oh, okay. And you talked about that in the show tonight?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't get to it. Come back tomorrow.
Well, not that we're leading you into a bit, but your brother, what does he do for a living?
He's a flight attendant. I swear, U.S. Air in Charlotte. I know, right? I get cheap tickets. It's awesome. Yeah. I've never been on a flight that he was working, though.
Oh.
All the years that I've been doing this, and he's been doing it since like right before 9/11, he got hired. Right, and so all these years I've never, and I just want once to see him do that pre-flight announcement and really fag it up, you know. I just want. I know he would. Is he flaming like obvious like? Not at first, but if you get him drinking, the bigger buzz he gets, the gayer he becomes. I mean, you'd love him. I mean, he is really a cool guy. So from North Carolina, it's kind of that Clay Aiken gay. Yeah, I guess. Look at the whole crowd looking at me like they don't think Clay Aiken's gay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know. Maybe he's not. I have no idea. He is. He is. Now,
he is. And your mom and dad still alive?
No.
No. Okay. And so you're married?
Yeah.
Yes. And
Sir Hump-a-Lot.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, he's back there. Where is he? He's back there somewhere.
Hump-a-Lot's right over there.
He
just did he move? He's a moving target.
He's hiding in the closet. Not in the closet. I almost said. No, it's not the closet.
He's over there. There he is, Sir Hump-a-Lot.
That's not what I said.
Big part of your show. And now. You exaggerate. I mean, Phyllis Diller, who, God bless her, just passed away. And
she was such an inspiration. I started this at 37, and Phyllis Diller started at 37 years old. And and look at the career she went on to have. And I was like, oh, I'm too old to be starting this. But then I thought, you know what, in 10 years, by God, I'm going to be 10 years older whether I did this or not.
That's right. You're never too old.
Amen.
That's right. And
yeah.
And I want to share this. I wrote about it on my Facebook page. We had the opportunity to meet Phyllis several years ago. We brought her here to honor her as a legend of comedy as part of a big fundraiser. And I spoke to her on the phone about it. And she was fun to talk to, and she had that great energy, just what you would expect, you know. And so she shows up that afternoon at the Sarasota Opera House. Limousine pulls up, I go back, door opens up, and out walks the oldest woman I had ever seen. I mean, at the time she was probably about 80, but she was very frail, very small, hunched over, didn't have a walker, but by God, you know, needed some assistance. And we had no idea. And she got in, and we kind of got her situated, and then we were oh my God, stand-up comedy, stand up. You know, is she going to be able to? So it's about 3 or 4 hours to showtime. Dinner and and she comes back, and she's in. So it's time for the show. We're out on stage hosting, and just before we went out, she wanted to be there. She came out in the whole get up, right? And she sits, and she just can barely make it to the seat, and she sits down. She's right in the wings there, and we're going, this is going to be weird, you know? It's going to be weird. And as soon as we said, ladies and gentlemen, Phyllis Diller, and 1,000 people go crazy, this ancient old woman erected herself, strided out on that stage with a long gait, did 30 minutes of material, killed, standing ovation, came backstage, collapsed in the chair, and we drug her back off.
God bless her.
And
God bless her.
And the thing is that what we saw, and you're talking about the age part, is that walking out on this stage, the adrenaline, it's showtime. It's showtime. And to walk out on the stage, I watched it melt 30 years off that person. And I've heard that same story about other people. And that was just a neat time. And back to you. You grew up in North Carolina. You went to college?
No.
No.
I drove by one or two, but
okay. You went in colleges for the keg party?
Well, I drove a truck. I delivered toilet paper to them.
Oh, okay. So you got out of high school. Did you get out of high school?
A little early.
Now, is that true? Yes. Did you? Little. So it was a. So the marijuana. So did you get a high school diploma?
It is high school.
So you did get a high school diploma?
I got a GED.
You got a GED.
I'm being really honest.
That's
I don't
good.
tell people this.
That's good. You got a GED.
My parents were really disappointed at this point.
You get out and you go. You get a job right out?
I was a truck driver, actually.
At 18?
For at 21.
21.
I was a school bus driver before that. You got to do something. You got to do something to put up with it. Believe me.
So you're a school bus driver?
I did that for 3 years.
Wow. So at 18, 19 years old?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were.
You could do it at 16. You could drive a school bus at 16 when I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Right now, no way.
That's the difference in when we were kids.
I tell you one thing, I never had a wreck in 3 years, but we couldn't spank them. But sometimes they'd be, up and wouldn't sit down and be yelling out the window, and we'd go through a neighborhood and a nice limb hanging out over the road, and I'd go right down those windows. I'd be like, see there, get in, sit down.
Did you ever hit the brake real fast and just kind of,
oh yeah,
whoa, hey.
Turn the engine off, going down a hill, idling, and then cut it back on. Bam! That's what we do. You make it backfire, you'll blow the muffler off if you leave it off too long.
School bus driver. Then, now, truck driver, you're talking about a...
18-wheelers.
18-wheeler, a truck driver. Okay. Now, did you drive alone, or did you have a...
I drove by myself.
And did you drive across the country?
A couple of times, but they make you have a partner to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't get to pick them.
Oh.
I know, that was interesting.
Now,
yeah, you never knew what you were getting with that.
Did you get tell us a really bad partner story?
Well, I had one guy that was gay, which was not the bad part, because I don't care, but he was like, he left me in a hotel in San Jose, California to go cruise around and do his business, whatever he was going to do. He left me, and his current partner was back in Charlotte across the country, was calling the hotel every 5 minutes, won't know where he was. And they didn't know where he was, and they were calling me, and I didn't know where he was. And after this went on for about 12 hours, the hotel guy came to my room and he said, y'all gonna have to get out. They just threw us out, because the company was paying the bill. And I said, well, I don't know where that sumbitch is going, but I'm going down here to, the Holiday Inn. And yeah, so, and then I called the company and quit. I told them I wasn't riding back with that guy because he was nuts.
And they get you another guy?
No, they talked me into coming on home with him, and we came down. I don't know if y'all know, out in Colorado, there's Donner Pass, where the famous Donner Party. We're coming down that big pass out there, that big mountain, and he's like heating the brakes up, and they're about to catch fire, and he's scaring the crap out of me, and I don't want to do anything but get out of there. And we finally pull into the truck stop at the bottom of the mountain, and we tumble out of the truck, and I'm just picking up rocks and just throwing them. I'm just like, get the hell away. I just didn't want to be near him. It was really strange.
And
no, I quit and didn't come back. So went to another company.
So you quit driving a truck.
Yeah.
All right, and then what did you start doing?
Well, I went and drove another one somewhere else. I just went.
Well, this is that particular truck.
Yeah, just not for those people.
So you drove a truck until how long?
Oh, and then I got married, and my husband, I wanted to be home, and so I was working for Frito-Lay, and I got a route sales job and sold Doritos and Cheetos and stuff. And then we decided we wanted to move to somewhere more warmer with more of a climate like this, and so we moved to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. I was transferred, yeah. I worked for Frito-Lay Puerto Rico, and I sold Doritos and Cheetos, y'all, on an island where 50% of the people smoke pot down there. That was a job. That, cha-ching! Oh.
The Cheeto guy in Jamaica. I never thought about that.
What?
Holy crap.
They were like, look, here's what, they see me coming, oh, the chip chick coming. Look, man. It's the chip chick.
That must have been quite...
It was
to
awesome.
go from North Carolina to being a truck driver and then all of a sudden to be in that exotic environment.
We bought a 46-foot Morgan sailboat and lived on it for several of those years, for all but about one. We lived down there for 1 year while we were in an apartment while we were deciding if we were going to stay. And then after we didn't have any hurricanes and got that false sense of security, we bought the boat and lived on that. And then the 95, how many we have? 4? Right back to back. Maryland was the big one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the bad one. And after that, we sold the boat to a guy in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, and we stood at the end of the dock and went, oh.
And then
the two happiest days, you know? The two happiest days. The day you buy it, the day you sell it.
And then you went from there where?
Back to the state. We came back to the States, to North Carolina, and that's when I started stand-up because we kind of tripped around. We camped around the country. We bought a tent, and we did a camping trip around the country for 2 months. And bought a national park pass and just trying to decide where we wanted to live, you know. And then my husband's like, you know, we need to be making some money here. You're going to have to figure out what it is you want to do for a living. So I decided to do stand-up. Little did I know how poor and hungry I would be with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
you don't start out making money at all with that. So it's just a starving artist thing. You have to really love it. But like you said, the adrenaline is.
And you started at Charlie Goodnight's?
And the Comedy Zone in Charlotte.
Oh, this Comedy Zone in Charlie Goodnight's was Raleigh.
Yeah.
And so you started there. Yeah. And from what was the spark? What was that thing that made you go, I think I can do, you know?
The first earned laugh.
Yeah. Well, okay.
The first earned laugh. When you get up there, you've written for, you know, a day or two's worth cumulatively and think you have a little bit of material that's going to work, and then you just go up there and you try it, and then it does work, and you actually get a laugh with what you made up. And I have it on video still. It's VHS because it was a while back. Beta.
That's right. Now I want to go back before that. But what was it that happened that made you go, I want to go try this? I think because obviously there wasn't anything in your background. We got to get a job.
Mark says, he goes, we're going to have to get jobs. We have got to go back to work. What are you going to do?
And stand-up comedy went in your head?
Well, yeah. I said, I'm gonna do that.
And was that
I don't want to go back to doing what I already was doing. This was time to move forward.
Right.
We moved. We sold everything. We moved back to the States.
So was stand-up comedy something you thought about for many years before that? Something you thought about as a kid growing up? No.
I thought that they came up and did a different thing every single night. And I said, there's no way in the world I can make that much up over and over and over and over. Right. And then when I realized you have a set that you perform, and then you can add and take away from it, but you know where you're going.
Right.
When I realized it was a set.
Right, that it's not improvised.
I said, I can do that.
And I
can do that.
And that's interesting in that I think a lot of people watching have this, because you make it look like that you're just chatting, comics do, and that audiences think, oh, this is just coming off top. They're just funny people, and they don't realize the work and the structure that goes into it. But I still want to go back to, where was that? I mean, he said, okay, you got to go get a job. Why? How did stand-up comedy go into your mind as beyond anything else of going, oh, that? Because
we went to open mics a lot in Charlotte because they let you in free in the middle of the week.
Right.
So we would go back every week. You'd fill out the comment card, you know, and they'd give you freebies. And we would go back, and it was the same people every week going on stage, and they were terrible. And it was all men. It was all guys. And I said, turn to my husband, I said, I could do better than that. Anybody can see that if it didn't work last week, and it didn't work the week before, and it didn't work, fix it. Just tweak it, right? Fix it. Don't come back and say it that way this time. Next time you come back, you turn the words around or something. And if you can't get it to work, you know, then dump it and move on. But
what year was that?
97.
1997. And the comedy boom started right about 1980. So you
got I was on the tail end of that.
Yeah, you kind of got on the tail end of that. And now, but the great thing is that people with our accent no longer, as a comedian, were in a spot where you had to go be Minnie Pearl at the Grand Ole Opera, because that was about it. And you could begin to tour. There were clubs all over the Southeast. But people would expect, with a very strong Southern accent, that you would only work in Southern places. Are there cities outside the South where you work where you do particularly well and enjoy?
I love Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I love it up there, man. I do Oklahoma, Kansas. The Midwest is just the best people, the nicest people. Hell, I was in Warwick, Rhode Island 2 weeks ago. You know, it's just, there's good people everywhere. And funny is funny, right? Funny, I mean.
So when you're, and you're. It
doesn't matter.
You're in front of a crowd in Sarasota, Florida. I dare say there's very few Southern accents sitting in this audience tonight. By applause, how many people have a Southern accent in this audience tonight? By applause. Wait a minute, I just want to say, I said by applause and 4 people raised their hand. That wasn't good. That didn't fare well for the South. Okay.
But nobody said.
How many people here are from the Northeast or the Upper Midwest?
Yeah.
It's your crowd. But yet, here comes Julie, you know, and the crowd. And I want to say this too. Last night we had a comedy competition here, Florida's Funniest, and we had 17 up and coming comedians, and these are people just, you know, breaking in. They're not headliners yet, and all doing 5 minutes apiece. And so an hour and 45 minutes of that.
And it was packed. It was 275
completely sold
people
out.
in here.
By the end of it, you can just imagine. The crowd was a great crowd, but they're worn out. They are worn out. Well, while we do the judging, which takes about 15 minutes, Julie has to come up here and follow all of that and, you know, kill time, basically. And I thought it was so cool. You walked up on this stage, and in 2 minutes, you took that crowd to a level that they had not been in the whole hour and 45 minutes. You did, and every comedian in here, and all of those 17 comedians could sit and watch, and they had good sets, and they did.
They were really good.
I would say at least 12 of them had really solid sets, and some good comics. But they all got to watch the difference in good, up-and-coming comics and a seasoned, accomplished professional. And there's a difference. And, you know, and when comics come to me and go, what do I need to do? I go, watch her. Watch what she's doing. You know what you're not doing? You're not getting the reaction from the audience that she's getting, or any other headliner that comes in here. And that takes work. Your show is a lot of sex. A lot of sex. A lot of sex.
That's why I get the body rating on your website.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But I will say, I get asked by audience members a lot, why don't you bring more clean comics in? And I'll go, I'll tell you why you don't see more clean comics in comedy clubs. You guys don't come see them. You don't. You don't. We've done it. We book clean comics, and we build the hell out of it, and we've advertised it. It doesn't sell tickets unless you're Brian Regan or Jim Gaffigan or somebody like that. But for the most part, it doesn't sell tickets. But I put body, adult body. This show is over the top. If you're easily offended, you'll be offended. If you're not easily offended, you'll still be offended. If we say shit like that, you know, here you come. Now,
it's how you do it, though.
It is.
Isn't it how you do it?
It is.
If you're not gross, it's real. People do this stuff. The things I talk about, y'all do it. Y'all do it.
Of course. And as much as sex, I mean, you know, sex sells. Sex, boogers, farts. We call it holes and poles. Holes and poles. Anything that goes in or out a hole in your body is fucking funny. Okay? You might look at it and go, that's, you know, it's not sophisticated. No, well, I'm not trying to be sophisticated. It's what makes people laugh. We don't really analyze why. We just know that it does. And it's a big part of the comedy industry. And it is how you present it. You use your husband a lot, as Phyllis Diller used Fang. But, and I'm sure some of those things were real and some were exaggerated.
They're all true.
It's all true. He really walks, constantly humping you. Oh my God. So
I know I should be thankful. I know.
You just have to tell the truth, right? What is Is there a moment that you can bring to mind in your show, just a piece that they heard tonight that you would go, if I could say there's one thing I said tonight that's the most honest, real thing I said to make you laugh?
My dick's a drill.
No.
The most honest thing I said probably was that, gosh, I don't remember half of what I said, really. That's the other thing that goes along with your eyesight. The vacuum, I hate that shit. I do hate a vacuum cleaner, that is the truth. And I really do take stuff back. It's right, it was all true, it really is, it was true. Yeah, and if they did film a Cialis commercial at my house, that is how it would play out. I do have, well, yep, I have a leg humping dog, I do. I have bedroom shoes that look like gorilla feet that I will not put my foot in any longer. What? Y'all remember more than I remember.
I'll tell you what, and this is a good point too. Any questions from you guys in the audience?
I know, right?
Anything at all, you know? And I mean, lots of times we find the audience, if we can get one person to ask a question, a lot will come up because people are kind of like nervous about asking. Yeah, right back there.
When you grew up with your parents, were either of your parents funny? Where did this sense of...
My mother's funny. There you go. My mom was funny. She got dementia in her later years, and she was still just funny as hell. And I didn't realize it till I look back now. I mean, I really didn't. That just, you're used to it, and you really don't, you know, it's what you know. You don't think about it. But
were either one of your parents or anybody in your immediate family or core friend group of your parents' age entertainers?
No.
No. Okay. Any other questions?
Not any of them.
Any other question? What's that? Were they bootleggers?
Some of them were in sales, though, and I'm telling you, salesmen make the best joke tellers there are. Yeah, they are, because they go make the rounds and...
What makes you crazy about when people not from North Carolina or the South, when they generalize about the South and how usually stupid we are or whatever? Does that make you crazy?
Well, it makes me want to prove otherwise. Is what it does. But, you know, then you look at all the stuff on television and you see why. Damn, look at what is that damn turtle hunters and the alligator, the swamp people.
Yeah. Well, you know, we grew up with, you know, our generation grew up with everybody thinking that everybody in the South was hee haw haw haw. It was hee haw. You know, was Hee Haw and Andy Griffith and basically that, and that everybody was kind of dumb, you know, dull and dumb and that sort of thing. And our saving grace has been Jersey Shore.
No doubt.
Our saving grace is Jersey Shore. Now we go, we're bad, we're not that bad.
People are people.
People are people.
People are people.
That's right. That's right.
And you look at that stuff for the same reason people watch monkeys flinging poo in the zoo. It's just the same principle.
Exactly. Anything else? Anything else? Anything about Julie or about comedy that you would like to ask? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Congratulations.
Well, that wasn't a question, though. Just giving yourself a little acknowledgement over there, Injun. All right. Is that it? All right. Any other questions? And I have my last question for Julie. Yes.
How do you guys know each other, and how did this come to pass, that you have this long-term relationship?
How do we know each other?
Yeah.
It came from me finding out about Julie to book her into the club. But I'm going to tell you, I can't remember how I originally...
I remember.
Okay, tell me.
Janet Williams brought me.
Oh, that's right.
We did the first week in this club. When they moved here,
that's right.
Me and Janet Williams, the Tennessee Tramp,
That's right.
Janet brought me, she told Les, she said, I've got somebody I want to come with me and open for me, and you'll like her. You know, that's a lot of times comedians do that for each other, and that's what happened.
That's right.
And it was the opening week here, and everything was so exciting. And
which was 2 weeks after 9/11. 2 weeks after 9/11. We sat in the, I've never told this story on the web. Pam and I had, before this, our club was in a Holiday Inn, and we utilized a banquet room, and it was just a symbiotic relationship with the owners there and us. So we didn't have a lot of risk as far as buildings and employees and everything, and I didn't want that. And then eventually it came time to do this in our life, and we did. So all of a sudden, for the first time, little comedy boy here has taken everything he owns, your home, your cars, every dime you saved, you go, and then you got to go borrow another $250,000 on top of that, and the whole 9 yards. You're going into more debt than you can even imagine to make this happen. And we do it, and we had to build, this was an old movie theater, and it was stripped to the walls and completely built out, floor leveled. We're literally sitting here, 3 weeks or 2 weeks from opening our dream. And I'm driving down 301 and driving down 41 to get here, and all of a sudden I go, oh, they've got the streets blocked off. And I called my wife Pam, and I said, I'm gonna have to go up on 301. I'll be there in a minute. I said, they've got some blocked. I said, I'm sure it's because the president's here. You know, we knew that the president was here for the grammar school. And I got the radio on, and there was a little report about a plane hitting the Trade Center. But at that point, we thought it was like a little, private plane or something. Yeah, that's what everybody thought. And and then as I'm telling Pam that, I'm like, oh, holy shit, the president's behind me. And the motorcade is coming up my ass. Because what I don't know is they're getting his ass to the airport, you know, to get the hell out of here. And I mean, they are like, you know, there's like no screwing. Everybody's just coming off the road. I went, that was crazy. I mean, man, I was sitting there thinking, man, how big of a hurry you got to be to get to a grammar school? And them kids want to hear a story. And so anyway, we got here. By then, the news, we knew what had happened. And we sat here in this floor, and we were just like going, well, who's coming to a comedy club? Our dream just went up in smoke. And who cares? Who cares? In the grand scheme of things, who cares? You know, what are we getting ready to do? I mean, we might be another world war. We don't know what's getting ready to happen. We're on new ground. And so, you know, comedy club owners were calling each other, and that were friends. Got, what are we going to do? Are we going to do a show? And I remember Michael Alfano in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Michael and I were talking, and Michael goes, you know what? Nobody comes into a comedy club by accident. People come to a comedy club because they need that release. They want to laugh. They want that. And he goes, I'm going to be open because anybody, you know, that needs it, needs it. And we all opened, and, you know, of course, that weekend was weird, but still, 2 weeks later, we opened here to great audiences. We did not talk about 9/11 at all. As a matter of fact, I'd never censored comics here until that time, and for the first 3 weeks we were open, I said, don't talk about 9/11. People are coming here to try to get away from it a little bit. And we didn't until David Brenner came here and was our grand opening, and he was able to talk about it.
Well, he's New York.
Yes, he's from that area and lived there, and he was able to talk about it. But it was just, to me, it was the power of what this art form is. That in such terrible tragedy, people in this country still went, I need to feel better, you know. And that's what this was, and now here we are 12 years later in this room with all of us, and we thank every one of you for coming out here and supporting us, and we thank people like Julie and all the great comedians in this country that work as hard as they do at their craft, because it is a craft, it ain't an accident, to be the great professionals they are to bring this to you. And my last question to you is, is there a great bit in your mind that has been rolling around in your mind that you haven't written yet? Is there something that you're really passionate about? Maybe it's something personal in your life that you haven't exposed. Maybe it's an issue that you're very pissed about or very excited about that you thought, oh boy, I'd love to write about that. You know, I'd love to get that on stage, but I just hadn't quite done it yet. Or no.
You know what? Everything that I want to talk about, I talk about.
All right.
And everything that I mean, because I don't want to miss out on any opportunity